Hello, I'm Yishuang from Harbin I wanted to do something a little different in this lesson and take some time to talk about the Chinese greeting, 你好吗? 你好吗 means how are you? And 2 years ago, I made a YouTube video that teaches it in addition to other greetings. In the past few weeks, I started getting comments on my video from people concerned about using 你好吗 and whether it's even correct Chinese. Here are some of the comments I received. I thought 你好吗 wasn't grammatically accurate. A Chinese talk said that's not something you say in China. Just want to know so I'm not learning incorrect things. 你好吗 means I don't speak Mandarin. No one in China says 你好吗. Why did I see a vlog that said they don't use 你好吗? When watching Chinese dramas, they don't use 你好吗. A few of the comments mentioned seeing lessons or videos online that say not to use 你好吗, so I did a search on YouTube and here's what I found. All these videos say not to use 你好吗? How could that be? Textbooks teach it, I teach it, and I was shocked to see all these videos saying not to use 你好吗. I thought these titles might be more to shock people and get them to watch their videos, and that the lesson content would not be so strong. But when I watched the videos, some of them were so serious. A few said 你好吗 was a foreign invention and not real Chinese. They said the textbooks were wrong, and one even said she gets upset when teachers teach 你好吗 because no Chinese person would ever say it. Those are really strong words. Is that correct? It's not even Chinese? Is it a foreign invention, and do people in China even say 你好吗? Please excuse me while I get a drink of water. I'll show you a short video while I do that. Be right back.
你好吗
Hello， 娜娜，你好吗？
妈一问你好吗？
你好吗？
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 韩老师，你好吗？
嗨，你好吗？
亲爱的孩子，你好吗？你好吗？
你好吗？现在？
我很好，你呢？
好久不见，你好吗？
马先生，你好吗？
你好吗？
你好吗？
好久不见，你好吗？你好吗？你好吗？
你好吗？
你好吧？你好吧？
你好吗？
你好吗？
爸爸你好吗？
孙俪你好吗？我很好。
师傅你好吗？都在。
Oh, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, 你好吗? Yes, Chinese people do say 你好吗? They say it to people they care about, they sing about it, they write it in letters, say it to greet people they haven't seen recently, and yes, it is even said in Chinese dramas. Good news, the Chinese textbooks are correct. What about the history of 你好吗? Could it be a foreign invention like some of those videos said? I'm confident it is proper Chinese, but I also did some research. The first documented use of 你好吗 I could find dates back 700 years ago to the Yuan dynasty in a novel called 望江亭中秋切块. It actually says 你媳妇儿好吗, which means how is your wife, but that's the same expression. 你好吗 also shows up around 400 years ago during the Ming dynasty in a novel called 魏忠贤小说赤间书. And it shows up many times in the Qing dynasty, which lasted from 1636 to 1912 in many novels including 温良斩, 皇清秘史, and 上古秘史. So clearly there is a long history of saying 你好吗 in Chinese. It's not a foreign invention. So why are there videos saying not to use 你好吗? Please keep in mind, China is a very large country and people from different areas can have different ideas on etiquette and what phrases you should use and even how formal or casual different phrases are. So first, I want to give you my own feelings about 你好吗 and when it's appropriate to say it. I personally think of 你好吗 as being a bit formal, so I will generally use other expressions to ask how are you, such as 你最近怎么样 and 你最近咋样. Both of these expressions mean how have you been recently, and they feel more casual to me. My mom, however, regularly says 你好吗 to her friends, and so do my aunts and uncle. So, when is it appropriate to say 你好吗? In general, I think it's more appropriate to ask someone you know how they are, so you can say 你好吗 to people you've met and are friendly with. I don't think it's appropriate to say 你好吗 to a stranger, and I would feel uncomfortable if someone I didn't know came up to me and asked me 你好吗. I don't think of 你好吗, how are you, as a daily greeting. It's a greeting to use if you haven't seen a friend for a while. It's also appropriate to say if you see that someone looks unhappy or troubled. 你好吗 is also used as a greeting in letters. When I was a kid, we were taught to use 你好吗 as a greeting when writing a letter to someone we knew. For writing a letter to someone we didn't know, we were taught to just use 你好. These are my feelings, but like I said, China is a large country, so what do other Chinese people think about saying 你好吗? That's why I decided to do a survey. I got answers from 228 people across mainland China. The first question was, do you say 你好吗? 28% said they say 你好吗 often. 46% said they say it, but not often. And 26% said they never say 你好吗. So from my survey, 74% do say 你好吗. Only 26% do not. The second question was, when do you say 你好吗? For this question, I had a list of possible answers, and people could choose more than one answer. 37% will use it to greet foreigners. I didn't ask them why, but I presume this is because 你好吗 is polite and it uses more basic vocabulary, so every Chinese learner should be able to understand it. Using a more complicated phrase or local expression might cause embarrassment if the person they were speaking to could not understand it. 36% will use it as a greeting in a letter or email. As I mentioned before, I learned in school to use 你好吗 as a greeting when writing a letter to someone I know. 22% will use it when first meeting someone. I normally do not say 你好吗 when first meeting someone, and I'm from Harbin, which is in Heilongjiang province. However, in my survey, I heard from people in Heilongjiang province that do say 你好吗 when first meeting someone. Some people from Guangdong and Jiangsu province also said they say 你好吗 in this case. So people's habits can vary not only from region to region, but also from person to person. 19% will use it to greet friends or family. This is when my mom and aunts say 你好吗, especially when they haven't seen their friends for a while. My mom said when her friends say 你好吗 to her, it makes her feel good and that her friends really care about how she is doing. 16% will use it to greet young children. I think this is similar to the reason why people like to greet foreigners with 你好吗. 你好吗 is a basic phrase that children learn from their parents or at school. I would also say 你好吗 when speaking to a child. And 14% will use it to greet acquaintances. I was afraid most people answering my online survey would be young people, so I also asked when their parents would say 你好吗. They said their parents will say 你好吗 when being polite and greeting acquaintances, when they are concerned their children are having a problem or feeling stressed, when their children are sick, to greet their children, when writing a letter, as a greeting on the phone, when greeting people at informal occasions, when greeting people at a formal occasion like a wedding, and when chatting with their friends. So this shows a wide variety of situations when people in China will say 你好吗. One of those videos suggested that a foreigner saying 你好吗 would drive native speakers crazy. So I also asked, how do you feel when a foreigner says 你好吗? People could fill in their own answers for this question, and here are the results. On the positive side, 108 people said it sounds normal. 31 people said it sounds good. 25 people said it sounds friendly. And 19 people said it sounds polite. On the negative side, 18 people said it sounds strange. 12 people said it sounds like a foreigner. And 6 people said it sounds like a Chinese beginner. So the overwhelming majority think positively about hearing foreigners say 你好吗 to them. Some of those videos saying not to use 你好吗 suggest saying 你吃了吗? Have you eaten? Instead. I don't agree. 你吃了吗 and 你好吗 are two different kinds of greetings. If you haven't seen a friend for a while, or it looks like something is troubling them, it makes sense to ask them, how are you? In these cases, it really isn't appropriate to just ask them if they have eaten. And if you see someone often, such as your coworker or roommate, you already know how their life is going. So in that case, it's fine to greet them with 你吃了吗? So what are some common greetings that Chinese people use often? These greetings can vary from region to region, but for strangers, I would just say 你好, hello. For friends, if it's around mealtime, I would say 你吃了吗? Have you eaten? Although this is getting less common among young people, they might just say hi or hello. Otherwise, for greeting friends and other people that you meet often, such as neighbors, coworkers, and classmates, we usually greet them by saying something related to what they are doing. This is really the most common kind of greeting in China, but the problem is that in order to do this, you need to have a fairly large Chinese vocabulary. For example, if I see a neighbor or friend walking a dog, I would say 遛狗啊, which means walking a dog, huh? When I see my neighbor heading out, I would say 出去啊, which means going outside, huh? When I see a friend in a movie theater, I would say 看电影啊, which means watching a movie, huh? And if I saw a friend jogging, I would say 跑步啊, which means running, huh? Or if I saw a friend going to work, I would say 上班啊, which means going to work, huh? In general, these phrases are only said to people that you know well, and they vary according to what someone is doing when you see them. If a stranger came up to me and said, 上班啊, going to work, huh? Or 出去啊, going outside, huh? It would make me feel very uncomfortable and like I was being spied on. People will probably forgive a foreigner making mistakes like this, but it's better to use these casual greetings with people that you know well. These greetings, based on what someone is doing, are only for people that you know. They are not appropriate to say to strangers. They also require knowing a fairly large Chinese vocabulary, which makes them complicated for beginning students. They are also very casual. Learning these casual greetings can be fun to impress your friends, but I think when learning a language and visiting a country for travel or to do business, it's important to start with more polite ways of speaking. Okay, that's all for this lesson. I felt it was important to make this lesson because 你好吗 is correct Chinese, and the Chinese people do say 你好吗. China is a large country, so there are many regional differences. Some people may prefer to say 你最近怎么样 to ask how are you, and some may prefer 你好吗. But anyone who speaks Mandarin should understand 你好吗, and it's an important phrase for you to know. I hope you found this lesson useful. If you watched any of those videos and were concerned whether it was okay to say 你好吗, I hope I've answered any questions you might have had. I'm interested to hear what you think of this lesson. Would you like to see more videos like this that cover cultural questions about speaking Chinese? Or would you prefer I stick more to grammar and vocabulary lessons? Please comment and let me know. Also, please feel free to comment with any questions or experiences you have had related to different greetings in China. Please take a moment to click like below and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys next time. 再见。